Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of the Sport Your Enthusiasm podcast. I am, of course, your humble host, Bryce Benjamin. And today, if you listen to the episode, you can see that we are going to be doing a MLB type show here. And if you know me, I'm not much of a MLB connoisseur, but I did bring in two aficionados to kind of come in here and help me out. To my left, I have my man, Ed Rueter. Ed, what's going on?
Not too much, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, appreciate you stopping by. And Matt Weinberg, what's going on, my dude?
How's it going?
Real quick, before we continue forward, I can lift up the mics and talking to him. Here we go. So, like I said, we're going to be doing the MLB show today, man. It's going to be a little bit different. I know we dabbled into some baseball talk on here before, but this show is completely dedicated to it. You know, we are going to be discussing the, last season. We're going to go ahead and go review last season. And then we're going to go division by division, break down each division, talk about some key moves that was made, some key signings, key trades, and, of course, give our predictions of who we think is going to come away. So before we do that, I have a new segment here in which we are going to let the guys explain their fanhood. So, Ed, I'm coming to you first. Take a minute. Go ahead and tell the people out there your fanhood. Talk about your favorite teams, players.
Sounds good, man. How's the mic level now?
Yeah, sounds good. There it is.
Well, nothing less than to want to disappoint you, man.
I appreciate that.
Keep it loud. Well, to start off, I'm just really happy to be here because if there's not two things that I love, it's baseball and the sound of my own voice. So we should be good here today.
I like it.
But I think for me, my fanhood would start with the Cleveland Indians. That's been a team of mine for a long time. Years back, the farm club for the Indians was the Buffalo Bisons, so I used to enjoy going to Bisons games, seeing the Indians players coming up, and ever since then, just been a big fan. Big fan of the Sabres as well in hockey, and big fan of the Miami Dolphins in football. So
Okay.
that's my fanhood right there. That's my big three.
I like it, man. I like it. Matt, floor is on you, my man.
Yeah, that's pretty mixed up teams you got going right there.
Yeah, I'm all over the road, man. All over the road.
Right. Yeah, well, I grew up liking the Oakland A's. I just loved turning on the TV and seeing white cleats on the diamond, and their pitching was always top notch. So I always loved watching Barry Zito throw those 12-6 curveballs, and just basically I grew up watching them. Also with hockey, I'm also into the Sabres, and I'm also a huge Bills fan. I don't understand how you're into the Sabres and the Dolphins, but we'll figure that out.
Hey man, that's a long story for another day. But it was before I knew about the Bills-Dolphins rivalry, all that. I wasn't trying to be a rebel or anything. It was just just how it worked out, man.
You know what? You like who you like. And I live in Niagara Falls. I'm a Baltimore Ravens fan, so you know we're gonna roll with it.
There you go, man. I got Dan Marino, man. That's all you got to say. Dan Marino. I grew up with Dan Marino. That's where it's at.
All right, guys. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Like I said, I want to start the show off discussing last year. So the MLB season last year, looking at the stats, looking at the standings from last year, I should say, we're going to go through the division winners. So in the AL East, we had the Boston Red Sox. The AL Central, your team won, the Cleveland Indians. And then in the AL West, we had the Houston Astros. And then the wild card teams were the New York Yankees and the Oakland Athletics. So both of your guys' teams made the playoffs there. In the AL last year, what did you guys think about the season for the AL teams, I should say?
I mean, if you want to start off, I mean, for me, in the AL especially, I think across the entire league, but in the AL in particular, it was kind of the haves and the have-nots. You know what I mean? I think you had a lot of teams with big payrolls, just loaded rosters. When you look at the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Astros, those are teams that were just absolutely loaded with talent, top to bottom. And even the Indians. The Indians are kind of a testament to the fact that what the have-nots can do. The Indians were a good team in a division full of have-nots. And I think that's why the Indians kind of rose to the top there. I think you're going to see a lot of repeat teams for a while coming out. I think the Yankees and Red Sox look really tough coming down the next few years. Same thing with the Astros, just absolutely loaded. But the Central is going to be a different story. If we're looking for action in tight races, I think the Central is going to be the story for the next few years to come.
All right, no doubt. What about you, Matt? What's your thoughts on it last year?
Well, I agree with most of what he said. I actually have a shocking prediction for the AL Central. I think the Chicago White Sox in the next few years are going to make a run.
Okay.
I think they got a lot of young players, and you may see them come together, and you might see a real good season in the next few years. I'd say like 3 years down the road. But besides that, yeah, you got the Yankees and the Red Sox basically holding everything down along with the Astros. The Astros won't be going anywhere for a long time. They just keep getting better, it seems like, with their pitching and their hitting. Plus that park's small, so they're always going to be hitters. The Oakland A's, unfortunately, I see them taking a pretty big downfall. Last year was a big year for them. I don't see them repeating anything of what they did. I really don't know how they did it last year. They just went on a streak in the middle of the year where I think they won like 25 of 30 games, and that definitely helped.
All right.
So
cool, man. And then in the NL, we had the Atlanta Braves winning the division in the NL East. We had the Milwaukee Brewers taking the Central, and then, of course, the LA Dodgers taking the West with the two wildcard teams, Chicago and Colorado. If I'm not mistaken, Chicago was having like a rough period at one point and then kind of got it together late in the season to make a late push. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Chicago was loaded. I feel like they should have won that division. And I'm going to go against my best judgment and say again this year that they're not going to win the division. We can talk about that a little bit later. But
right.
Chicago Cubs they're a loaded roster. Anthony Rizzo, Javi Baez, Chris Bryant. They might have the best infield in baseball. Milwaukee was another team, kind of a surprise last year. People thought, kind of like Matt was talking about the White Sox, that were a few years away. They kind of arrived early, which was kind of a cool thing to see. That's what you want to see. When we do these predictions, there's a pretty good chance none of us are going to be absolutely correct, right? But I think it's going to be an interesting division there. But I don't see Milwaukee repeating.
I don't either. I actually see the Cardinals winning that division. I see them coming out of nowhere, or coming out of left field, we should say. They had some big signings, and I see them going from middle of the pack to just number one, especially with Goldschmidt on their team. They needed a first baseman since Pujols left. They haven't had a first baseman. They've been putting Matt Adams in there, hoping he's going to work, and he has a good month or two, but Goldschmidt's going to make them number one in the league.
I see. I got to keep my papers to myself. There goes my bold prediction for later. I guess my prediction.
I had them circled.
I guess it wasn't that bold after all, since you just went and took it from me. But St. Louis looks good this year, man. I agree. I think St. Louis is going to be really tough this year.
All right, so then we're going to go ahead and jump into the playoffs last year. So obviously the wild card round took place. It was the A's against the Yankees in the AL, and then the Rockies against the Cubs in the NL. And the Yankees defeated the A's, and the Rockies defeated the Cubs. Did you guys predict those wins, like, for those two teams? Did you think that the Rockies would defeat the Cubs and then Yankees over the Athletics?
I'd be lying if I said that I thought the Rockies were going to win there. Did not see that coming at all. Again, I think if I was a Cubs fan, which I'm definitely not, I'd be really disappointed with them last year. I think that last year was a big disappointing season. I think a lot higher aspirations than going out in the first round. On the other side, unfortunately, Matt, sorry, man, I kind of thought that the A's kind of rode it, either a little bit of luck or just, kind of streaky play to the playoffs, and I thought the Yankees would kind of give it to them there.
Yeah, I kind of agree. The Yankees were getting hot into playoffs there. They were trying to make a run to even get close to Boston, and the A's kind of just fell towards like 500 at the end. So I knew that was going to be a tough one, especially in New York. I didn't expect to win out of that, especially with the pitching staff we brought into that. I'm pretty sure we used relief pitchers the whole game.
Yeesh.
But, we didn't really have a clear-cut ace last year, so that's pretty much why we got rid of Sonny Gray a couple years ago. And we've been struggling to have an ace around there for a while.
All right, so then advancing into the next round, the Brewers, they just took care of the Rockies, swept them 3-0. Let's see here. The Yankees won the first game against the Red Sox and then kind of just got demolished from that point. Damn, the Red Sox put up 16 runs on them in the third game. That's crazy. LA Dodgers, they took out the Braves in 4. And then the Astros, they look like they swept the Indians.
I don't want to talk about it.
I'll talk about that.
No. Let's talk about it. What happened to your boys, man?
Unplug the mic. But none of their hitters showed up. They might as well have stayed in the locker room.
I think pitchers did all right, didn't they?
Yeah, they didn't hold them to enough runs to win the games, but they did what they could. But really, it was a story of the offense just didn't show up at all. Anybody who knows me will know that there's an over-under on me mentioning Francisco Lindor tonight. That's about I'd say around 10 or 12. If I can keep it to under 10 or 12, I think I'll be all right. But he showed up, and the rest of the team did not. So I think that was our story there.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of those series, I feel like, were just. I mean, Boston was I felt like they were gonna blow away the Yankees from the start. I don't think the Yankees pitching staff matched up with Boston very well. And Boston's whole hitting last year, they would put up almost 10 runs a game, it seemed like. So that's gonna be hard to beat. When you go through the playoffs, it was pretty much whitewashes across the board. There wasn't really any competition until it got to the World Series, and I don't know. There was a lot of powerhouse teams, I felt like, last year, and then the other teams just didn't match up well.
Yeah, I'm taking a look at it right now. It looked like Boston kind of just ran through the AL. Right. They destroyed the Yankees. They destroyed the Astros 4-1 in the championship games there. And then in the NL, the Dodgers were able to win a Game 7 against Milwaukee, 5-1. So, yeah. So then we had our World Series. Dodgers against Red Sox. And shout out to my cousin Nick, who was a Red Sox fan. Red Sox pulled it off, 4-1 over the Dodgers. You guys see that one coming?
I thought perhaps it'd be a little closer series, but I think that just, looking back, the Boston was an all-time good team last year, top to bottom. The roster had no holes. The bullpen, the starting pitching, everything from DH to the backup outfielders. They were really a great team. So not a surprise. I don't know if I see them repeating this year. Matter of fact, unless Matt wants to steal the thunder again, I don't have them winning the division this year. So we'll see.
The Red Sox?
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there.
I mean, yeah, we'll get there, but they're gonna be tough. Last year there was really nothing competing with them when they were in the NL. They were trying to put Mookie Betts at second base, and when you're moving one of the best outfielders second base just so you can have JD Martinez in the outfield, that's a good problem to have. And they're going to run into that again this year probably.
Okay. So, hey, let's jump into it then. We're going to go division by division, talk about some significant moves that was made by each team in a said division, and then make a prediction of the division winner. So, let's start off in the AL East, where we have the world champion Boston Red Sox. For Boston, let's start off with Boston. Any significant moves that they made this year? Any trades, any signings, re-signings that we can think of?
Nothing huge. Not like they really needed to do much.
Kind of just keep the band together.
Yeah, they were just pretty much keeping everyone together in this case. Hopefully trying to repeat. I don't know. What do you think, Ed?
I think Kimbrel hasn't re-signed, so that's a little bit of a blow to their bullpen. But I think when you're that good, I think the major thing is just to keep everybody together, which they did. I think they've got everybody signed for at least through this year, if not a couple years. So they're going to look strong again. But again, I've got them finishing second. So when we move on to that team, I'll let you know who I think is going to overtake them.
Well, hey, let's move on to who we think is going to take that move forward, I should say. Who's the favorite in that division to you?
I think, to me, the Yankees overtake them this year.
Really?
Yeah.
Why so?
I think, the Yankees made a lot more additions.